Hi, I'm Rachel Hyman-Sisco, running for president as an independent in 2028. I try to pay attention to the things, and that's how I can see immediately what people are thinking. Of course, it's in my feed. One of the people I follow talked about recession, and I don't know what the economy is going to be like when I inherit it or how it's going to be while I'm doing it, because it's based on what's happened before. But I can tell you this, during a recession, programs like Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, all that stuff that people need will be implemented, and I have a plan for it to be better than before. So the programs would be better because I would be looking at Canada, Finland, Denmark, anyone who has a thriving economic system. What are they doing? And a lot of those that are thriving have free medical, free education, stuff like that. That is all right. Those are things we need. What used to be food and water and shelter, medical and education, people don't want to go to school anymore. It's a loss. Worried about doctors and healthcare going down? That's because doctors have to pay astronomical amounts to go to college. And you complain about how much you have to pay for a doctor, but they have to pay off a loan. And if they're in a private practice, they have to pay for all the supplies that are there and all the people that are there. They are essentially running their own business. So we're not going to complain about that. And if we want more doctors, we need to make sure there are scholarships and get rid of loans. Public service message to you guys out there: you should not need a loan. I don't care if you're a 2.5 student. Go to your college counselor. They have a list of different loans. If you are on food stamps, TANF, SNAP, whatever, you qualify for a scholarship. Now, SNAP benefits, they have a list. Bookkeeper, accountant, aide, nurse. They have a whole list of things you can do. Now, it's a community college that I went to, and I took, under that program, I took accounting classes. I was only a 2-year degree, so I got paraprofessional accounting. I took bookkeeping. I was under scholarship to get my CNA license. I have 2 AAs to show for it. So, learn from me. Stay on track with your degrees. Don't keep changing them from doctor to interpreter to... Stay on track. You'll get through college a lot easier. You don't have to pay for college. One of the baseball players for the Mariners did a scholarship for teachers. So there are people out there that sponsor you. So you don't want to be a teacher. Maybe you just want to go to college. I would definitely increase teacher pay. I would start paying them. I can't say I pay them what they're worth because no one has that amount of money. But that would definitely be looked at when we talk about minimum wage. BS. BF&S for the servers out there. I am so sorry that they think that you don't deserve full pay and tips. I am sorry that you rely on how much money you make in a night serving beer than waiting on people of tables of 10, 20 people. You have at least a minimum wage because not everyone tips. Not every person tips, and people don't tip equally. In my administration, college would be more attainable because it would hopefully be free. That's what the goal is. And you wouldn't have to work to afford college. If you live in a university dorm or whatever, your dorm costs would be free. You could qualify automatically for benefits, for food stamps or whatever, and you could automatically get that. I'm not going to judge between classes, poor, medium, rich. I'm just trying to level the playing field. Because you know what? I've been on all sides of it. When I was young, we had money. Been a single mom where I had to be on all the assistance in the world. I had to be on Section 8, which they took money from. While I was on it, I had Section 8 when Section 8 was operating full capacity. So I know what it's supposed to look like. I had to use SNAP. I didn't use TANF. If I worked and made money, you have to have a job. You have to go for interviews while you are seeking work. I had 4 little kids. I could not leave them at home and do work. I was trying to do my best. And we had something called emergency child care. And that is when you get a job, you've got a place for them to go to school the next day. You apply, you call the hotline, hey, I need emergency child care. It has to be for a job, and they will give you a list of openings. So you can, if the system is working correctly, have child care the next day. But like I said, that's a roundabout. Baby daddy, that's why I was a single mom, His mom had her own business, and so she said, hey, she's working for me. And that's how I got the kids into daycare. But now that I have a job, I don't qualify for TANF. But kids are in daycare. I don't know what it was then, but right now, where my daughter goes, even though she is on assistance, she's still paying more than what she makes. We have to kick in. She has to do a side hustle in order to get those kids in daycare. If those kids aren't in daycare, she moved in with us due to extenuating circumstances. She moved in back in with me and her dad. And in order to work, and in order for us to work, the kids had to be in daycare. But you can't work. And then people complain about kids can't work. Well, it's because it's broken. So daycare's another thing we would help take care of, because we want our people to be out there and working unless there's a pandemic, and then we're bringing them home and figuring out how to do this virtually. But there's a lot of broken things. And as far as pandemics, we have a lot of groundwork ready for us, and we have the supplies, and we're going to use the supplies for our people first, for our country first, before we help others. When I am president, our country will always come first. We will take what we need first, and what we have left over, we can share. But if we don't have enough for our people, I can't justify giving it to other people. And that's how a recession would go. Kids wouldn't feel it, because there would be food on the table. Housing would be happening. They would still be going to college. They wouldn't have to work. The kids would not feel it. And no one would have to worry about their medical situation, because that would be taken care of with federal money. We would take that. And if you ask me how, we're bringing our military home and not buying bombs. That's what we're doing. That's very easy. We're going to bring our military home. We're going to put them to work here. And not invading other states, but fixing the pipes, having clean water, fixing the infrastructure where there are shortages, have them to help do stuff that we might not be able to do. Which they have gas masks, so there's so much. That's why I can do this every day. But long term, recession, got you covered. And that's how, and that's why. Groundwork was already laid, and I'll tell you who it was laid by was FDR, and I'm going to do a little more research, but I can give you accurate things. But FDR did some good things, because he was around in the Depression, and he made a lot of laws. I think he came up with Social Security and that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to quote you things until I know better. Okay, think independently. Vote Rachel Sisco, 2028. See you tomorrow.